Welcome back to Takeout. Republicans here in Washington, they remained largely united during the shutdown. Longtime Trump ally, though, Marjorie Taylor Greene, kind of a surprising voice of dissent, at least at the margins. And that's caught the attention of President Trump. Here he was describing what he now sees in MTG.
I don't know what happened to Marjorie. She's a nice woman, but I don't know what happened. She's lost her way, I think.
Lost her way. Two people who have not lost their way because they found the way to the Takeout studio. Hyma served as director for the office of then DNC Chair Jamie Harrison, former RNC spokesperson Kevin Sheridan, lots of other hats. Kevin, I want to get to the hats you used to wear because you've been through more than one or two shutdowns. You know they must end, and you know, because you experienced this on the hard right, those who want the shutdown, those who preach shutdown, are always super angry when it ends. And what we're seeing on the left now is a direct reflection of that movie you once saw.
Yeah, I think we have a winner for the most cynical and dumbest shutdown ever, probably topping the cruise shutdown of a decade ago, where everybody predicted the ending. There was no mystery. All it did was cause pain for federal workers,
variable was how many
the American
days?
people. And this one screwed up air traffic.
Why do you call it cynical?
Because the only reason to do this, the only plausible reason to do this was to either piss off the federal workers in Northern Virginia to get them out to the polls, or to protect Chuck Schumer from a primary against AOC. I don't see any other reason for it. There was no benefit to it. Everybody predicted how it was going to end, and it ended that way.
Yeah. Hyma?
Look, I was talking to people in Leader Jeffers' team, and they think that they made a point. They think that health care is still the fight for Democrats going into 2026. And so what they're saying,
push that to the top of the consciousness of the American
and that's
public.
what they think. They think even though Republicans and 8 Democrats voted to move on without making health care a priority, they believe that politically they can still make the case next year that this is going to be a big thing.
They've teed up the midterms.
Yeah, exactly. But to your point about Chuck Schumer, I do think that Senator Schumer is in trouble in some ways. I think he's going to at some point decide not to be the leader of the party in that way. I don't think he's going to decide to not run for re-election. But AOC, who's in the House, she's using this moment to make some points herself.
But Republicans were never going to be able to avoid the health care discussion anyway, because it's a date-based thing. You know, they got to find some fix at the end of the year. They're not going to
what you're going to do with expiring Obamacare.
But they're also not going to tax trillions of dollars in new spending to just throw
But
it.
it can become a repel and replace situation again. I think if President Trump, and he's a good gamesman, if he understands that, I think he's going to instruct the Republicans to come up with some plan that the American people can actually decide on. But repel and replace is not the way for Republicans right now.
That is the president's favorite phrase, by the way, some plan.
Yeah.
We don't ever see it, but he does say those words over and over again, some plan. Kevin, what's the Marjorie Taylor Greene of all this?
I make nothing out of it. Look, they'll probably be seen at Mar-a-Lago having dinner over the holidays. She's hardcore MAGA, but like she had a little bit of a disagreement. That's not. I don't.
When she says that the Republican conference in the House is not open to, and she said this in many venues, letting women increase their visibility and their power within the Republican conference, and she sort of said that this affordability issue with health care is legit and Republicans need to address it. Is that wandering from MAGA or just giving it a slightly different cast?
Well, she also went on The View, and that's probably what he's really talking about. No, she's been making all sorts of noises. She's been
very envious of the show, The View, by the way.
She's been doing the circuit.
Yeah. Deservedly so. They should be very envious.
Yeah.
She's got a unique perspective, and she hates what the health care, when she was running a business, what health care premiums did to her business when they went up under Obamacare, and she's going to make that case.
Yeah. I think she's making fair points, and I think the thing that to think about for this woman, this congresswoman, she's thinking about the future. At the end of the day, even though Donald Trump is head of the MAGA party right now, he's a lame duck president. He will not run again. He will not seek a second term, and so a third term. So I think she's thinking about that, and she is making sure, to your point, she's building out the infrastructure and policy of the MAGA agenda, not just pushing forward Donald Trump, but there are real affordability issues that she's speaking to.
Do you think she thinks she has any future as a potential Speaker of the House or somewhere?
I've never heard her say that, but she has been very critical of the current Speaker.
That's what I mean.
She's out there hitting Johnson all the time. So I don't know who knows? With this caucus, anybody could be a speaker.
So one thing that's going to happen once the House comes back, in addition to dealing with ending the government shutdown, is eventually, it appears the numbers exist, to authorize a discharge petition and force the House vote on the Epstein files. That seems to me to be a slightly volatile...
Which will do what to release the Epstein files? Nothing.
Please explain.
Nothing. The president's not going to.
Meaning the Senate has to do it as well.
The Senate has to do it, and the president has to
approve it.
sign it. And
So it's not going to happen.
They both said this is a distraction. Leave it alone.
And look, I think it is an opportunity for.
Does that take the politics away from it and the volatility?
There's going to be an angry segment of the right and the left that are going to constantly bring up Epstein, and there's just nothing you can do about it unless you're going to release absolutely everything, which
the Justice Department could do, and so could the Treasury Department.
Yeah, and they've been resistant for whatever reason.
Hyma, do you think this is a potentially bothersome political issue for Republicans in the next few weeks?
Yeah, Major. I think we have proof positive, and we just saw what happened a couple of months ago when we spent 3-4 weeks talking about this. The president's approval ratings went down, the House approval ratings went down, the Senate, and so I think it does not behoove Republicans to continue this conversation. But look, Democrats are having a tough couple of days with what's going on in the Capitol right now.
There's plenty of Democrats in those files.
I don't think that Democrats will have a problem continuing this conversation. Robert Garcia, the congressman, has been on TV.
He is the ranking Democrat on the House Oversight Committee.
Correct. And so I think he's using this as a setup for when Democrats do take the House back next year. There are going to be many investigations around this. This is not the last we're going to hear about this Epstein thing. And so I think to the president's point, he should try to find a way to bring a conclusion to this, whatever it may be.
One of the things that Washington does is not actually things, but it sets up things to talk about things. Healthcare, Epstein, fall into that category. Hyma Moore, Kevin Sheridan, I appreciate the time. As always, remember, the candy does not eat itself, so take some before you leave.